Over the past 14 days, I've been putting the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge through its paces. From unboxing to daily commutes to intense gaming, low light photography, I've tried it all on this phone. We'll go over the design, we'll go over the display, performance, camera, battery and software in detail, and I'll wrap up with pros and cons to try and help you decide, is this the Samsung phone for you? So after 2 full weeks of real world testing, let's get started. So day one starts with the unboxing from when I first got this phone 14 days ago. The unboxing experience with Samsung is always very minimalist, as it is with Apple, and they've very much copied Apple on this approach. I don't mind this, it's much better for the environment. We don't get a charger in the box, we just get a USB-C cable, a SIM tool, instruction manual and the phone itself. Lifting the phone out, I immediately noticed how ultra thin profile it is and how luxurious it feels with that beautiful titanium finish. So I went for the blue phone with the nice silver titanium edge on it and the light blue back. So the blue is a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be, but I actually quite like this. So on the weight side of things, it feels balanced, not too heavy, undeniably very solid. I think it feels as solid as the S25 Ultra, but obviously a lot thinner and a lot lighter. So it's quite nice to have that light feeling phone, which you don't get these days very often. It gives you that instant high-end vibe. The tactile quality from the sleek edges to the smooth glass front is immediately impressive, setting the tone for what is to come over the next 2 weeks. Now let's look at day 2 and 3. This is when I'm going to be putting it through its paces, using it as my daily phone, out and about, in the studio, driving to clients' offices, and also anywhere else I might go with the phone. The S25 Edge started to excel immediately. I was impressed with how light the phone felt. When I was using it on a daily basis, I've noticed the difference with the phone compared to the S25 Ultra. I have a Vivo X200 Ultra in the studio. I have lots of big flagship phones with massive camera systems on them, and they all felt so much heavier than the Samsung S25 Edge. The 6.7-inch AMOLED display is beautiful. It is Samsung's classic OLED display, which is obviously very similar to one on the S25 Ultra. Fantastic OLED display, is one of the best on the market in my opinion. Partly because they're tuned perfectly with the colour brightness and everything like that. They just look good, and they look good outside with the anti-reflective coating that Samsung puts on their phones. The phone's ergonomic design made one-handed operation a breeze. Also, you can actually get your thumb to the edge of the screen because of the lightness and because it's so thin. So the screen isn't far off what you might get on the Ultra. So it's 6.7 inch rather than 6.9, but actually using it one-handed is much more viable because you've got that thinner design and you've not got the bulky edges like you have on the S25 Ultra. Handled everything I threw at it in the first 2 days of use easily. Now let's move on to days 4 to 7. I obviously wanted to try this phone out properly, so I wanted to give the cameras a good workout. I wanted to give the Snapdragon 8 Elite a good workout, because how could a Snapdragon 8 Elite CPU in a phone this thin with no cut down cores, how could it not overheat? I thought, surely this is going to overheat. What I did is I took it, put games on it like Weathering Waves, Genshin Impact, Pug Mobile, and I played them all for a few hours or half an hour to see how the phone handled that intensive workload. I'm not going to lie, the phone got hot. It got much hotter than an S25 Ultra, for example, partly because there's not as much place for the heat to go as there is on those more flagship, heavier style phones with the big chunky chassis and the vapor chamber cooling. Well, this does have a vapor chamber, but obviously it's going to be a lot thinner because the components are all squashed down to a much smaller space. Using resource heavy apps on the phone worked fine. You could even multitask and game at the same time. The heat got hot. It got hot, but it never got overheated. I never got a warning on it saying the phone's overheated, which I was surprised it felt warm. But obviously Samsung have counted for this, and it's designed to get that warm. So the phone's performance stayed rock solid during the whole time I was using it. So what do you get on this phone in terms of what the hardware then? So you get the Snapdragon 8 Elite, as we've mentioned. You get the 12 gigabytes of RAM, and you get either 256 gigabytes of storage, or this is the 512 gigabyte model here, which was on offer for launch day. I think that's absolutely fine for most people. I would even be tempted to say go for the 256 gigabyte model because it has no problems with that amount of storage if you use cloud storage as well. I was impressed with the performance on this phone as a daily driver. I had no issues with it at all. Let's go on to start looking at the cameras on it, because the cameras are something that people are going to worry about. So this is a 200 megapixel camera on it, and also it's got an ultra wide on it as well, which is about 12 megapixels. So the 200 megapixel main camera is the driving force of the camera system on this phone, essentially. It's going to be what uses the crop zoom, take them high resolution pictures, to zoom in on them to get that digital zoom effect. And actually, it works in high light conditions. So the sensor on it is not the same as the S25 Ultra. I thought it was exactly the same sensor, just shoved into the S25 Edge, but it's not. I did some more research on this. It's a smaller sensor. And this is where you start to notice. So if you take photos in low light conditions, indoors, when the lighting's not quite good at night, you're going to start to notice more grain than the S25 Ultra. The camera on the S25 Ultra is still better than the S25 Edge. Obviously, there's going to be compromises somewhere because of that thin chassis, but it's not a bad camera. Taking it out and about, and I will show you some shots as usual, taking it out and about into the real world, taking photographs and video, it does deliver quite well in good lighting conditions. The 200 megapixel zoom is actually fine. You can get some decent cropped in zoom results. Again, I will show you some results I took out and about. Scenery looks quite good, portraits look quite good. Zoom right in, you get a good effect on the skin tones. I like that. I like Samsung's colours on the cameras. I think they look okay. It's not going to compete with anything like the flagship camera phones from China, like the Vivo X200 Ultra, the OnePlus, even the OnePlus 13 might get better results from it, and the Samsung's own 25 Ultra will deliver better results. But overall, for a phone this thin, the camera system isn't that bad, and you get things like 4K 120 slow motion and everything like that. So actually, you don't have to compromise that much on this phone as I thought. Now we're moving on to day 8 or 10. So I thought I'd put the battery was the main issue I had in my head when I bought this phone. I thought I would not like it because the battery was not going to be good. 3,900 milliamp battery. The Samsung Ultra, S25 Ultra has a 5,000 milliamp battery. So this is quite a significant downgrade. It's got the same CPU, everything like that, with a smaller battery in a smaller space. I found overall the battery to be fine, and I won't keep this to the end. I found, so doing light to moderate use, such as browsing the web, social media, streaming videos, recording occasional video, taking a few photos a day, the phone would get through the whole day on a single charge without me having to top it up. It only has 23 watt wired charging, so it's slow speed wired charging, and it has 15 watts wireless charging, which I'm amazed that Samsung fit a wireless charging coil in this phone considering how thin it is. Samsung aren't known for their fast charging. We do get 45 watts on the Ultra. I think that's good. You do notice the slow speed on this phone. It feels slow compared to some of the other manufacturers out there, like when you've got OnePlus doing 90 watt charging, Motorola doing 90 watt charging, Xiaomi doing 120 watt charging. This does feel slow, but it's a smaller battery, so it doesn't take too long to top up. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to fully charge on a standard charger, which is fine. And wireless charging isn't much slower, far behind either, because of that 15 watt charging. If you use the phone a lot, so I used it for if you're running games on it and then doing video work, it will drain quite quickly. So I would take a mobile charger with you. I honestly think after 14 days with this phone, I can say the battery is not that bad. Samsung have optimized their software well, and it works well. It does deliver on the battery side of things more than I thought it was going to be. I'm not getting battery anxiety with this phone like I thought it would. Now let's go on to day 11 to 14. So we're getting towards the end of this video. Software experience. So One UI is Samsung's main operating system, as most of you may know, and I use it in the studio on my Galaxy S10 Tab Ultra, and I love it. I think it's one of the best versions of Android out there. It's very well customized by Samsung. You've actually got some decent Samsung apps. Samsung AI is pretty good as well. There's lots of features on it, like photo correction on it. You've got writing assist on it, email assist. There's lots of features on it that actually work, and it integrates well with your other Samsung devices. So if you've got a Samsung tablet and a Samsung phone, this will integrate well. Even a Samsung laptop, that would also work well too. Obviously, you don't need to have those things, but it's just nice to have, and it shows how the ecosystem is getting very advanced. It's almost as good as an Apple now, I think, in terms of the ecosystem, and Samsung are very well integrated. But the good thing about it, because it's Android, it works well with the manufacturer's products that are Android too. Samsung's interface is sleek, it's intuitive, adds a layer of personalization. Galaxy AI, as I mentioned, like adaptive brightness, navigating through menus is fluid. It never ever stutters, this phone, as you'd imagine with the Snapdragon 8 Elite. On the connectivity front, we've got Wi-Fi, fast Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even in crowded places, I could get a rock-solid connection. So I thought maybe the 5G antennas aren't going to be as good on this because of the slimmer design. No issues whatsoever on Wi-Fi and 5G. It works perfectly. By day 14, my overall impression was clear. The Samsung S25 Edge was a high-end design and performance with minor trade-off largely depending on how you're going to use the phone and whether you're a heavy user or whether you're a moderate user or a light user. So after 2 weeks of real-world testing then, let's decide and conclude what the pros and cons are of this phone. It's premium, well-made phone. It's premium, well-made titanium design with that nice Gorilla Glass front on it, ceramic guard front, which is durable. Then you've got that 6.7-inch AM OLED display. That is excellent. Got vibrant colours, got excellent contrast. The scheme performs well in both indoors and outdoor situations because of the high nit rating. You've got the Snapdragon 8 Elite, full fat 8 Elite, which works well under gaming and it's glitch free. It never ever stutters, even recording 4K 20. One UI is great because it's the same operating system as Samsung's other phones. You've got plenty of storage and plenty of RAM, so it's going to be well future-proofed. So let's just have a look at the cons. This 3,900 mAh battery then is mostly fine for out and about using light to moderate use. So if you're a light to moderate user, you're going to be fine with that 3,900 mAh battery. If you push it hard, you will run down the battery because it is a smaller battery than the standard S25 Ultra. But this phone is not aimed at people who are heavy users, I don't think. It's aimed at someone who wants a sleek device to carry around as an everyday device with a decent camera on it, one of the best OLED screens on the market, and also a Snapdragon 8 Elite for that performance if you need it. I think Samsung hit the nail on the head with this phone. I was surprised how well they did with it. While the 200 megapixel camera does impress in many situations, as I mentioned in the camera section, it does start to downgrade when it's in a low light situation, so just something to bear in mind. Also, charging speeds are not as fast, and it is going to be an expensive phone because you're paying for that premium design. Although I've seen offers at the moment down to £700 now with trade-ins, and also with you get a free tablet thrown in. So actually Samsung are actually giving some good deals out on this phone at the moment. So check it out on Samsung website. I've been impressed by what deals Samsung are offering. So finally, let's wrap this up then. In conclusion, after 14 days with this phone, I enjoyed the top tier performance. I enjoyed that thin design. It was refreshing to be able to carry around a phone so thin in my pocket without feeling like I was weighted down. When I went back to my normal phone, it feels massive and heavy and completely different compared to this. It's very enjoyable to use. If you're a user who prioritises battery life, this may not be the phone for you. But if you're willing if you are light to moderate users, as mentioned, this battery will get you through a full day, and you can charge it up wirelessly, and it's fast enough to charge up quite quickly because that smaller battery size. I could easily use this as my main phone, but if I was using it as a main mobile photography phone and video, it would not last me the day in terms of battery. But then again, the phone's not aimed at that. It's aimed at someone who wants a thin, light phone or business phone, and I think it delivers in spades. So well done, Samsung. I think this phone, we didn't ask for this phone, but it works. Right, so over to you then, guys. What do you think about this review though? And what do you think about the S25 Edge? Do you like this phone? Do you like the style of it? Do you like the design of it? Do you like the fact you're going to get a smaller battery, trade off for the thinner design? Let me know your thoughts down below and what you think of the camera shots in this video, and let's get talking. I'll speak to you next time. Thank you.